What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? Matty P. I'm back on deck. I'm back home. I'm back in Sydney, Australia, ready to talk some Pittsburgh Steelers football with you. I do apologize. The trip I had, or vacation I had, was wild in terms of just how much time we spent running around, doing awesome things. I'm pleased to be back on deck, but I had a great vacation. I had to let myself fully enjoy that. But I had hoped to do a few more videos. I had a lot of cellular issues in some places we went. I had wanted to do something in and around the Colts, especially whether it was a preview or reacting. I got to yell at a TV screen in a bar full of people at the Indianapolis Colts game when they turned off the screen for a quarter. So I wanted to catch up on that quarter as well. Then I had to fly all the way back to Australia. You lose a day doing that because you got to go forward into the future with time travel. Anyway, point being, I'm back on deck. I want to cover a few things in this video with you guys. I want to give you my honest opinions on Justin Fields. Really do want to give you that. Want to talk about Davante Adams. That's been a bit of a thing in the last 24 hours. Want to talk a little bit about seeing the Steelers. I'm going to save that because there's some content that I want to do over that, and hopefully over a live show over the weekend. But give you a little bit of a take about what I saw there. Want to talk about a few of the injuries and what this means for the Steelers as well. And I'll just talk a few general things. So let's kick off with Justin Fields. Now, Justin Fields, I have to say, I know he threw for over 300 yards on the weekend, but I watched him live against the Chargers, and I just don't think he's it. Now, I'm not saying he's terrible. I think he's better than what we had last year, maybe apart from Mason Rudolph. I don't hate him. But my problem with Fields, and I worried about this from the get-go when they brought him in, I worried about this in the preseason. He runs first. He does not throw first. All the things that the Pittsburgh Steelers fans have given, slack to, have criticized, have sledged, have talked trash about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is better at throwing in the pros than what Justin Fields is right now. People can argue with me on that. They can say he did this at Ohio State. You see what he did at Chicago, whatever. It's not there. He wants to run first. And the Steelers, one, don't have the line, even if you wanted to do that, and there was going to be games. Two, that's not going to win a shootout with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. It's just not going to happen in the AFC. So, from my perspective, I'm actually really keen to see Russ back. I don't hate Justin Fields. I think he's a good, serviceable guy. I think you can win games with him. Do I think you can go deep in the playoffs? Probably not. Do I think you can win a Super Bowl? No, I don't. I'm happy to, hey, prove me wrong, Justin Fields. Go out there and prove me wrong. But if the Steelers are thinking about paying this guy $45 million or $30 million, even $30 million plus next year, that ain't the right move. You're better off getting and acquiring draft picks. You're better off drafting a guy. You're better off go get Penix, for example, because at least you could see what he can do. I don't think Justin Fields, and it's not about the development. You see it. He wants to run first. It was plainly obvious in the game that I went to. I saw it of every single play. I've seen it on the weekend, and it's what I've always seen. Again, he's good, but the problem is that the Steelers with their offensive line play, he's got to make a quick passing decision, and he's not making it because he's too busy looking for a run lane. Then he looks to pass, and then he goes to run it, and it's resulting in some average sacks as well, particularly behind that line. He could take a bit more responsibility there. So, one, I'm really actually keen to see Russ maybe be fit this week. If he's not, when's he going to be fit? Because I do think that the Steelers need to see what they've got in Russell Wilson just as much as they needed to see what they had in Justin Fields. Now, I will say this. Looking at a couple of his stats, I pulled them up on the screen. He has done well. I'm not saying that. It's a good situation to have two starting caliber guys. He's completed his worst completion percentage was 64.7% on the weekend, right? He's definitely been an accurate passer. He's only thrown one interception, but he's only thrown 3 touchdowns. And yeah, he rushed for a bunch of touchdowns. But how much are you going to rely on that behind a line that's struggling to stay healthy? And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So I worry that the Steelers, I don't worry, actually. I think Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin get it. But this guy's not worth $25 million plus. Even though I don't care if another team's able to pay that as their backup or try him out as the starter. I don't think Fields is the long-term answer 4 games in, about almost a quarter away through the season. I just don't think he's the long-term answer. He can figure it out. He can get better. All those good things. Hope he does. But I just don't see it right now. And he's been sacked 10 times. He's on track to be sacked almost 44 times like he was last year, which you can see if I hover over the screen in front of you. Like it, I just, yeah, that's where I'm at. He's passed for more yards, whatever. But in a shootout, he had to do that on the weekend. And, the Steelers didn't win that shootout. It didn't surprise me. All right, well, that's Justin Fields. So I'm going to say I'm excited to see Cam Russ be fit this week. We've also known that we also did hear out of first day practice this week that Russ's load was increasing. All right, let's get on to Davante Adams, right? I'm just going to remove this for a sec. Davante Adams. All right, actually, I'll bring it back. Davante Adams. Why it makes sense? Well, it makes sense because you've got a 6-time Pro Bowler who's 10 yards off 11,000 yards. He's had his 4 TDs off 100 TDs, highly experienced, knows what it's like to develop a quarterback. Great. But we just talked about Justin Fields, and we don't know what we've got in Russ, and we want to invest in this guy, but we didn't want to invest in Ayuk. Davante Adams is a definite one. Ayuk's a great 2A or a 1B. Davante Adams is a leading guy. But we couldn't give up. We couldn't find the trade package to make Ayuk work. But the people the doubters and the haters on me there will say, no, that was because of the 3-way trade win with Courtland Sutton with the Denver Broncos. But it still didn't happen. But we're going to find a way to make Davante Adams work. At 32, he wants a Super Bowl. He wants a sure thing with a quarterback. Really? I'm not sure about that one. I'm really not. And then I look at the contract, right? I look at the contract for him. Davante Adams is due $35.64 million base salary next year and $36.64 million the next year. Now, none of that is guaranteed. His guarantees ran out this year. He wants a new deal or a better quarterback. That's why he wants out of the Vegas Raiders. But if that's what he's going to play on, even if he wants to play on on a $25 million contract next year, do the Steelers have $25 million to pay Davante Adams when they don't know who their quarterback is? We're going back to the Ayuk territory. For those of you that saw all my videos with the Ayuk territory, that's where we're going. Now the Steelers have $74 million cap space next year. They're going to have to work out something for TJ. They're going to have to work out a quarterback. They've got to sign, obviously, their draft class with displacements. That's what happened. They probably need another wide receiver. They've got to pay. They've got to pay Pickens if they want to keep him. They're going to have to figure out whether they're going to want to do something with Najee or not. I'm kind of a bit like they're also going to have to start thinking about Porter Jr. as well potentially. Do you try and pay him early? Do you try and give him some guaranteed money up front to sign him on a long-term deal, keep him there? I'm kind of getting a little bit why are we going down the same path? You can go get Terry McLaurin for cheaper, like Davante Adams signed with Washington. Or, I don't know, I talked about him a lot at the time, so maybe Matt, you're on that train. Why don't you let the Chicago Bears get Davante Adams, trade Keenan Allen? Let that happen and find a way to work yourself into that mix and fleece the Bears out of Keenan Allen. That'd be better. He's been injured a lot this season. His stock's probably going down. Vegas want draft picks anyway, so they can compile them. They want younger guys. But I don't understand the Davante Adams at 32 to the Steelers, and that's suddenly going to change the game. That ain't going to make Pickens happy. It's not going to change the fact the line's struggling to stay healthy, and it's not going to change the fact you don't have a quarterback. Davante Adams is a red herring to success for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I've probably said that in 2 or 3 minutes, but that's what it needs to be. I don't see it. If it happened, am I going to hate it? No, he could be an asset to the team. But is he an asset that's going to move the needle for them of where they are now to being a championship contender? And the big fat answer is no. It is 0. Not going to happen. All right, next thing. Patrick Queen. And this feeds into seeing the Steelers. Patrick Queen will figure it out. I do think he'll figure it out. But I do have to say, I have been a bit disappointed with what I've seen. And I particularly when I watched the game that the Steelers played against the Chargers live in Pittsburgh. I'll talk about that. I'm going to talk about that more on the weekend when I do the live show. But Patrick Queen has not probably had the best start to his Pittsburgh Steelers career, right? He just hasn't. And that is what it is. There's been some blown coverage stuff. I thought Minka, apart from like the bullshit refereeing situation on the weekend, I think there's been a couple of blown assignments with Minka. I think the defense is, for as good as it has been, he's still figuring out. They've also obviously got injuries going on as well with like Highsmith and all that whole situation. I think Peyton Wilson's trying to figure it out. I think they put it all on his shoulders at the moment as well. So I'm not like deeply worried, but we've got one tackle for a loss, one quarterback hit. That's it from Queen so far. We've got about just over 20 tackles from him as well, 21 tackles. Most of those are it's about 50-50 solo versus combined tackles. He's had 2 pass defenses, but he's not looked like he's going to do anything absolutely crazy. I actually think he'll have a really big game against Dallas. I think he'll have a really big game there. But it was something that was apparent to me when I went and watched the Steelers. Watching the Steelers win, I had the best time. It was freaking awesome. I'm going to segue away from the Patrick Queen thing, but I did want to say something about it. I had the best time. I saw Peyton Wilson and Zach Frazier before the game in the morning between my hotel and the hotel that I had breakfast in. So that was freaking cool. Peyton Wilson was shocked, I think, by my accent and that someone recognized me as he hopped literally in the space of a very short sidewalk on a side street from the exit of a hotel to Zach Frazier's pickup truck. Looked brand new. He's spending some of that rookie money, but it was a nice truck. Not crazy, nothing too nuts, but it was new. Otherwise, it was in very good nick. That boy washes it. But watching the game was awesome. We have a sub on the channel now. I sat next to him at the game. He was with his mates. His father's season tickets. His father had sadly passed, so I do just want to say there, condolences again. It was great to see next year. We had a great conversation. Hope you watch this video. Hope you like it. And share it with your mates and stuff like that. But it was just awesome to sit next to you and have a good chat there and get pumped. We had such a great conversation about different things were happening with the Steelers. I also had an awesome time with the Steel line before it. We had my wife and I actually helped out another couple at our hotel get to the game in an Uber because their Uber canceled at the last minute. So that was kind of cool as well, to be there. And we talked all Steelers stuff there. So I had a really good time there. And I say I'll talk more about it on the weekend, but it was just really cool to see a game live. It's been far too long, almost 5 years, and it was really good to see that. So I'm pretty stoked to get back. I do not want it to be five years between drinks. I also had wanted to meet up with Shannon. Fortunately, we couldn't make that happen for different reasons, but that will happen at some point. Shannon and I will meet, and we will be able to do something fun together for all of you guys, but also fun for him and I. Him and I need to catch up face to face. All right. But I don't want this one to go too long because there's more content coming later in the week, and I know everyone's got a busy week in the middle of the week. So we're going to talk about the one final thing that I wanted to talk about on today's episode, and that is some of the injuries. The Steelers are bringing Max Sharpling off of the Washington Commanders because of the fact that it is now known that Daniels is done with his Achilles. And that, actually, I'm pretty sure with James Daniels, actually brings to a close his Steelers career unless they bring him back. Could be good. The Steelers might be able to keep him now, but now it comes down to money. Yes, this is his final year of his contract. So that kind of sucks. That's a career year or a really important contract year for him. We also obviously know Troy Fatanu is out for a long time until the playoffs. Nate Herbig is out for the season. Cameron Johnson's out. The Steelers' injuries are starting to pile up. Does this make a guy like Najee expendable? No. I saw a rumor about that in a comment on the internet. No. Jalen Warren's not been fit. He's their go-to guy. Why would that happen? I've seen lots of different trading that Fields is the answer for the Steelers, and therefore they've got to trade Russ. Well, you better want a freaking good guard on a multi-year contract for that to happen. And I'm not going to give out names. Steeler out west, if you're watching this, hopefully you are loving what I'm saying. Usually you've always got that trade in mind, but I'm like a no to trading this and no to moving that. So hopefully you watch this video. Hopefully you miss the one that I'm saying no to trades. But the Steelers line is a challenge right now. It needs a fast acceleration from McCormick and Anderson. I've liked some of what I've seen from Anderson. Other stuff I'm like, I wish he'd do a bit better. But with Simalu out, I prefer I know they played Spencer to start the season on the left. I prefer Spencer went to the right. I've watched so much tape with him. That is his natural position. And I know that I'm not a coach on the Steelers, but we know they like to play their alignment out of position. So that one, maybe I do have a fair point of view on that. Play McCormick at left guard where you ultimately see him where he's used to playing. That is what should happen. But it is really sad for James Daniels if he truly has missed the end of the season. That is done for him. Sucks for Corey Trice being injured as well. Not good. Steelers can't really afford too many more defensive backs to go down. Steelers are being hit by the injury curse, and it is next man up. But I do expect for the Steelers, I do expect us to see a bit of creativity. I expect a lot more three safety stuff as well. I think that's going to be really, really important. And also, we just need a few freaking refereeing calls not to be so slanted against the Steelers. My God, am I sick of seeing that? Sick of seeing these dumb calls that go against the Steelers. I was happy to see Terrell Edmonds play for the Steelers on the weekend, and I think that's going to be really important moving forward, especially considering the defensive back situation for the Steelers. I think it's very important that you can play the safeties, that you've got four guys you can play because Deshaun Elliott can play in the slot. He's having a terrific season for the Steelers so far. I'm loving it. I loved it. I said before the season started, he was my favorite free agent acquisition pickup. Not my favorite overall player acquisition up there, but my favorite free agent player acquisition pickup. And that has not changed. He has had a lights out start to the season. I've loved it. I mean, he wasn't perfect against the Colts, but he's been pretty freaking good this season to start. The other thing I had said when I was in Pittsburgh before the Chargers game in the preview I did there, but I really want to see Roman Wilson play. Hopefully he can play. Hopefully that opens up weapons, another weapon for Justin Fields if Justin Fields starts. If not, I think Russ will make the most of Roman Wilson. But look, I've done just over 15 minutes, which is what I wanted to do. Let me know in the comments. You can let me know about Justin Fields and Russ Wilson for quarterback. Let me know about Davante Adams, how high you are on that move happening, that player acquisition happening, how against it you are. Either way, let me know what you think about Patrick Queen and the linebackers in their start of the season, what you think of the injuries. Keen to get our comment section thriving again. That is on me to be able to drive those for you guys and responding. We will try and do a live show on the weekend, so stay tuned for my thoughts on that. Shannon and I probably will be back, hopefully recording some content this week too. I'll try and get a video done for you tomorrow too, and we are picking back our coverage on Steelers touchdown under. Have a good day, night, evening, lunch break, breakfast, dinner, whenever you're watching this, whatever it is. Hope it goes well. And as always, go Steelers.